Good morning and welcome to the October 26th Union County Board of Education SPIT Committee meeting. All members are in attendance and I'd like to call this meeting to order.
So moved.
The first item is approval of the agenda.
Oh,
So
So
moved.
Second.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, next item is approval of the minutes from the September 24th, 2025 meeting.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next up, Dr. Clue for review of the 2026, 2027 traditional school academic calendar. I think you're muted.
You're muted.
Still muted. Still muted.
There we go. Sorry.
All right.
Did my screen share properly? Okay.
It did, yes.
So just put together a couple of slides to remind everybody of a couple of things about the calendar development process. First of all, the most important thing to remember is these are all the things that we are constrained by in developing a calendar. We like to try to share this list of things as often as possible when we're talking about calendar, because these are many of the things that the public has a lot of interest in us being able to get around, but we can't. So just want to make sure that, the biggest of these, of course, is the start and end date constraints, but there's a lot of other constraints within the calendar that we have to follow, both from a statutory as well as a policy standpoint. I'm not going to go through the list, but I just do it for effect, that when people say, I don't like this about the calendar, I don't like that about the calendar, just understand that oftentimes there are things that are unavoidable. Last but not least, before I move on to the actual calendar themselves, just want to make sure you remember that we do put out a survey in the spring, or we did one in the spring, where we asked all of our constituent groups, what are your biggest priorities in the calendar? And these are the things that came to the top. These four things clearly came to the top, whether it was teachers or principals or parents or students, as things that they wanted us to honor when we built the calendar. And again, I won't go through the list, but you see them. They're very traditional things. So not really surprising, probably, on most of them, that people want these things in the calendar. So that leads us to the 26-27 calendar update. You remember that we were going to bring this to you last spring, but we got held up because the legislature had some calendar bills that we thought might affect some of those things that were on the original slide, but none of those got any traction. So we came to this timeline. We asked for feedback from the public on options A and B. We put out two versions of the calendars. I think everybody's seen them by now. Then here we are on October 22nd, looking for your approval of the calendar that we're going to recommend. Full board approval, of course, in November. And then we are planning, of course, with the board's approval, to return to our original idea of getting 2 years ahead on the calendar. So that leads us to the actual calendars themselves. Again, hopefully that's sharing on my screen, but this was calendar draft A, and this was calendar draft B. These were the two that we asked for public input on just recently. Most of you have seen that survey, and I am happy to report to you, not necessarily happy, but just pleased to report to you that calendar A received 87% of the feedback from the public in favor of that draft, and that is the one that we are recommending to you here today as the 26-27 calendar. And then, of course, that would go to the full board in the November meeting. That's all I have for you.
What's really the difference between draft A and B? I'm not seeing a whole lot of difference.
There's not a whole lot of difference, and that was one of the big pieces of feedback we got in open comments in the survey. Basically, calendar B allows us to go into this week here, the second week of June, and gives us a couple extra days really for inclement weather purposes. That's what the purpose of calendar B was. but the public clearly liked the idea of ending on Friday the 4th and not going into that next week. So I think that's the main reason why calendar A floated to the top when we asked for public input. But you're right, Mr. Helms, there's very little difference other than that. And that goes back to that list of constraints that I had on that first slide in the presentation. There's just not a lot of room to move too many things around. And honor the calendar priorities, the 2 weeks at Christmas, the winter break, the week at Thanksgiving break, at spring break, those kind of things.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Plouffe. Any other comments or questions from the board members?
I do have one more question. It's really, I know I've asked it before in the past, but looks like we have 2 half days on here.
Actually, no, there should not be any half days. We have decided a couple of years ago to do away with those. Yeah,
Okay, so
no
the gray are it's a true full day off then.
That's right. Those are professional learning series days. So basically, just for everybody's knowledge, the blue days are optional work days. The gold days are days that we reserve for schools to do professional development on, and the gray days or the silver days are the days that we reserve for the district to do professional development on.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's
No more early release days.
Yeah.
I guess the other comment I kind of hear from some of the public too is, I know that we have one on like a Tuesday. Is there a way we can move it to Monday at least?
So some calendars, more days fall on Tuesdays than others. This particular calendar we're in the middle of right now, there's a lot of Tuesday and Thursday work days. So understand that voting day, for example, November 3rd, is a policy that we have to be out of school on voting day, and voting days on a Tuesday. So yeah, there's some other days that fall on Tuesdays, and those are usually holidays and things like that. So Veterans Day, for example, sometimes follows on a Tuesday or Thursday, and we don't have ability to move that one.
Any other comments or questions? All right. This is action, so we are looking for approval to recommend calendar draft A to the full board for adoption. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Take it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Plouffe.
You're welcome.
All right. As far as closing items go, I am looking for, as far as information to be taken to the full board, we will be taking calendar draft A to the full board. And our next meeting is scheduled for November 19th at 8 a.m. via Zoom. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move.
Do I have a second?
Take it. Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.